And a pair of women's rights groups is making waves in California with an eye-catching campaign to raise awareness about men being housed in women's prisons. The statewide Billboard truck campaign is calling attention to the upcoming rape trial of a man accused of assaulting two women in the female prison that he was allowed to transfer into. NTD's Daniel Monahan spoke with the executive director of Women to Women about the campaign.
This week, advocacy groups Women Are Real and Woman to Woman launched a statewide Billboard truck campaign across California to raise awareness about men being housed in women's prisons under Law SB 132. SB 132 was authored by State Senator Scott Wiener and signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom. It allows men to be housed in women's prisons if they say they are transgender.
Since there are no requirements within any of the gender self-ID policies, this just allows for anyone, whether they're in transition or not, to transfer. So what this translates to is there's just regular men with beards and tattoos from head to toe. They're walking around women's prisons.
The mobile billboards feature stark messages including women in California prisons raped by male inmates and SB 132, state-sanctioned rape, media silent.
I use this term specifically, state-sanctioned rape, because this is exactly what it is. Our legislators were fully aware. If you have a working brain, you would know that giving people free range to gender self-ID within the carceral system is going to lead to people gaming the system and taking advantage of an opportunity. Why wouldn't they?
Amy Ichikawa is the executive director of Woman to Woman. She knows the correctional system all too well, having spent 5 years in Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla. These days, women are facing a new threat that wasn't present when she did her time.
In early 2024, I received several phone calls about a couple of rapes that took place within a 24-hour period in this Central California Women's Facility.
The Billboard campaign is drawing attention to the upcoming trial of the man accused of those rapes. Tremaine Carroll was transferred to the Chowchilla Women's Correctional Facility after claiming to be transgender after 22 years in a men's prison. The judge in his rape trial ordered the prosecutor to refer to Carroll by she/her pronouns. Ichikawa says many of the men who have transferred into women's prisons are sex offenders.
There's hundreds of people on the waiting list, many of whom are registered sex offenders. 33.8% of the original transfer requests were registered sex offenders.
She says many female prisoners fear for their safety, sleeping in 8-bed dorms with the male inmates.
Well, just knowing the nature of their crimes, their size, the fact that they know above all their feelings will be prioritized over women's safety and well-being.
She says they are also afraid to speak out.
Women just don't want to talk about it anymore because they've seen what happens to the women who have spoken up. They see what happens when you do stand up for yourself or you do file a formal complaint, you get your privileges taken, you lose honor dorm privileges. Some people even lose parole suitability grants.
Ichikawa says the medical aspect is also disturbing.
There's women that have to petition the courts to get basic health care needs while these individuals that are trans-identified are prioritized and no questions asked. Facelifts, nose jobs, cheek and chin implants, Rogaine for, their male pattern baldness.
From 2017 to 2023, the California corrections system spent nearly $2.5 million on vaginoplasty and around $600,000 in breast implants, facial feminization, and laser hair removal. SB 132 is called the Transgender Respect Agency and Dignity Act. The legislation is described by its creators as allowing incarcerated transgender, non-binary, and intersex people to be housed and searched in a manner consistent with their gender identity. Ichikawa says Woman to Woman, Women Are Real, and other groups will continue to fight it.
Historically, there hasn't been anyone to defend incarcerated women who are the pawn in this game that the powers and principalities are playing. But we're not going to stop. Women are reals, woman to woman. We're not going to stop.
The truck campaign opposing it has traveled through San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Sacramento. A truck will also travel to Central California Women's Facility on Friday. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.